Welcome to the Body, Mind, Spirit Power Hour with myself, Deborah Lighthart, and my co-host, Mary Baxter. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Deborah. Good to see you.
It's good to see you, too. I just want to mention that this show is brought to you by Feronia Wellness Organization, a nonprofit holistic health group helping to share education and resources on anything related to the body, mind, spirit connection. So, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Mary and I are going to be talking a little bit about some topics that came up in last week's show. Last week we talked a lot about pendulums and dowsing and, how to use your pendulum and some basics, in that department. And some things that kind of came up during that were how to cleanse your aura, how to clear your energy fields, and that kind of thing. So I'm wondering if there are any thoughts you might want to start with this morning, Mary.
As far as clearing and shielding the energy field?
Yeah, I think that would be a great topic this morning. I know that a lot of people ask me about that, so I think it's a great thing for us to cover today.
Well, the first way, my way to approach clearing and shielding to start with is through an actual reading that I do, an Akashic reading, which is soul clearing and shielding. That's what we do in that. And so that involves accessing a person's record. So it's something I do for someone else, or I do it, for myself. It's not always easy to do for myself if I am, really emotionally involved, or if I'm really not clear, it's hard for me to clear myself. It just depends on my level of ability to be neutral. And in that reading, there are lists of difficulties, obstructions, blockages that are, what I do is I douse that list with a pendulum for an individual whose records I'm in, and then find specifically what's going on, and then the clearing is done through prayer requests, which, involving the team of angels and guides and creator beings that I work with, who do the clearing, and then through further prayer requests place shields. So that is really one of the major foundations of my work that I do with other people, as well as a course that I teach. As far as clearing and shielding without that, I always do that first. But then there are so many other ways, and I was writing a list of them this morning so that I would think about them. And so one of the things that came up for me was the kinds of rituals that we can do. Smudging, often smudging is done for a room or a physical location. But I belonged to a group here on the coast called the Moon Mothers of Half Moon Bay. And we meet on the full moon and do ceremony and ritual. And one of the things in the circle is that we smudge each other using sage. And so that definitely has a way of dispersing negative energies. It doesn't accomplish shielding as far as I've been able to tell. So how about you, Deborah? I have other things on my list, but let's share it and see, because I think we'll overlap.
Yeah, so we probably have some of the same lists. But what I wanted to say is there any way you could talk a little bit more about what smudging is and how you do it, just for people who don't know? For those of us who are kind of already into energy and, the whole, energy realm. Like, a lot of us know what smudging is, but some of our viewers may not know the word smudging or what it means.
Okay. So this is how I smudge, actually. I have this abalone shell, which is great. You can actually find these on the beaches here. And then this is a sage bundle that has also been used by Francesca, my dog. So it's a little, she loves to chew on this stuff. These are also pieces of sage. And the way I do it is, hold on. Lighting the sage. And sage will smolder or smoke, and that's what the smudging part is about. So you don't leave it flaming or it'll burn up. But you can see the embers. And then a person could use a feather to smudge themselves, or just you fan the smoke towards you. You can do it for another. You can spiral it around your head, bring it all down your body. It gives off a particular scent. Sage is actually has a tone. It's called the D sharp tone, and this is the tone of angelic beings, of sea salt, which is another purifying, clearing substance, so that you could put sea salt around your property. Like, that's one of the strategies if you're having difficulties on a property and it needs clearing, is to put sea salt around the perimeter of the property. Clearing a pendulum, that's part of my process, or any stones, is to make a circle of sea salt. But this is the smudging. Is that a good enough explanation, do you think, Deborah?
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. And we did have
smudging our power hour now.
Yes, that's wonderful. We did have a question come in the chat room about smudging while you were talking. So, were you going to? Okay, I didn't know if you had more to do. Sorry. And a question came in from Sandra. She said that both her and her husband have asthma, and would it be something that might trigger her asthma to try to smudge?
Absolutely. Smoke, it's, definitely putting particles in the air, and so this is another way to clear space. Just simply toning on a bowl accomplishes that. It's a wonderful way to clear space without polluting your air.
Yes.
It's one of the difficulties of smoke.
Absolutely. Did you want to just do a couple tones quickly so people can hear what that's like?
Sure.
I know we've done the show before, but just for anybody who might be viewing in the future.
This is a Tibetan singing bowl. It's made by monks in Tibet. It's 7 layers of various metals, used to collect alms, food by the monks, and also used as a prayer bowl and for toning. And the sounds that you make traveling around with the wooden wand or gonging, this is a felt end. That's why it's singing. That's why it's called a singing bowl. So this is also a way to clear space. And to me, if I'm clearing the space I'm in, I am also clearing my energy field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I have a couple things too, but I've got to go grab them because I don't have them sitting next to me. So I'll be right back.
Okay. while Deborah is doing that, when it comes to stones and gemstones, Sodalite, it's this, can be darker, or this is kind of a lighter one. It's this beautiful blue, and it's filled with white veins and splotches, these whitish inclusions. And Sodalite clears the energy of a person or a space. You could wear Sodalite in a necklace or bracelet. It needs to be exposed to the air. If you carry it in your pocket, it doesn't have the same effect. But Sodalite in rough form also you can place around your space wherever you are, which what Sodalite does is it absorbs negativity from the atmosphere and it takes it on. And you can tell that it's working because over time the stone itself will become lighter and lighter, have more and more white inclusions and less of the deep blue tones. And you can rinse it off, you know, in rainwater or under a faucet if it's something that you wear. But it's another way to clear yourself as well as your environment. Hi, Deborah. I was just talking about Sodalite so you could get your stuff.
I love Sodalite. Thank you for sharing. And I wanted to kind of continue on the sea salt that you talked about. And you talked about using the sea salt to clear your property, to sprinkle it around a property, which is a wonderful thing, and I recommend that to people too. I also have put it in a little spray bottle. You know, dissolved some sea salt with some natural spring water into a spray, and you can just mist your whole entire aura with it.
Oh,
and if you just mist over your head, it usually just falls down like rain through your aura, so you just kind of clear everything on its way down. And I've actually seen it. I've been lucky enough to. I worked at a little metaphysical shop with a woman who taught aura classes, so she had the camera where she would video people's aura changes as she introduced different things into their field. So you could see, you know, when she would spray the sea salt water into someone's aura, it was just like, you know, it would just pour white light just right through their aura, and it would just change and brighten them up and release things. You know, so that's a wonderful, very inexpensive way to be able to clear your energy on a regular basis. And me being an Aquarius, I'm kind of into water and bearing water. So a lot of things I do are, you know, around the sprays and things like that. I mean, I love Sodalite and I love sea salts, but I think being able to have a little spray bottle can help clear your aura very quickly and easily. Another thing that I love to use in this spray bottle is rose water. See if I get it close enough for everybody to see. Basically, rose water is one of the highest vibrations of anything on the physical plane. So it's the closest thing to angelic that we can get. It's very, very high megahertz. So when you use rose water, it does the same kind of thing to the aura. It's sort of like the sea salt will wash away the negativity, whereas the rose water brings in the positive energy. So if you first spritz with the sea salt water and kind of spritz that through your energy field and let it flow, it'll clear everything out. Then you come in with the rose water to invite in the angelic realm, to invite in that positive energy. So I love
that. I have never thought about putting sea salt in water. That is wonderful. Or about using the rose water. Fascinating. You know, one of the things I do, Deborah, is I make these formulas or solutions, and they're particularly geared to clearing as well as bringing in the energies that we need for a specific period of time. I usually make a formula for a month or two for myself, and I do them, for other people. I do them for Francesca, my dog. And what they are consisting of is gemstone elixirs and flower essences. There are many flowers, there are essences and gemstones, there are elixirs that are specifically geared toward clearing. And then there's ways of reading the energy to know exactly what's called for, so that rather than going, oh, well, I'm going to put Sodalite in a spray bottle. So these are dropper bottles, but I also do sprays, depending on what I feel like, if I want to mist myself with it or not. But using the flower essences and gemstone elixirs that way, why wouldn't you could even add, a few grains of sea salt to the water to enhance that clearing aspect. Just really cool. I hadn't thought about it in all those different ways.
Yeah, well, and I think each person kind of finds their tools that are comfortable for them, and we all kind of have a little something to share that fits for each of us. And one of the things that, when you brought up crystals, that's one of the things that I use regularly too. I keep crystals in my home. Like you see my altar behind me, I have some crystals on there. I keep crystals. Sometimes I sleep with them at night to clear my energy while I'm sleeping. I meditate with them. So crystals are a really powerful energy clearing tool as well. In fact, something I learned years ago that's just kind of good information for almost anyone that's out in the world in a negative kind of environment in your workplace, or dealing with difficult space or difficult people around you, is to wear a clear quartz over your solar plexus. And that what it creates a barrier, or it creates a boundary, so that you're not absorbing other people's negative energy, which is something that I tend to do a lot of, or at least have in the past. So I used to wear a clear quartz over my solar plexus. And for women, it can be either on a long rope, or some women will attach it to the inside of their bra and just hang it over the solar plexus, and you can put it on a long rope. It doesn't have to be anything special, but just a stone that feels good for you, that feels very protective for you. And when you wear it over the solar plexus, it kind of puts a barrier, or strengthens the boundary around your entire energy field, around your entire aura. So that's not so much for, it would clear too, I'm sure, but, I basically, I feel like it's a great way to protect your energy field from outside influences.
Another stone, especially geared towards that, is pink or ruby tourmaline. And like a necklace with pink or ruby tourmaline in it, not solid, because it carries the feminine ray. For one thing, it's a very, very strong stone, and it can be difficult to wear all, a solid necklace of pink or ruby tourmaline. So usually it's interspersed in some type of numerological pattern with freshwater pearls or black onyx, something like that. But what the ruby tourmaline or pink tourmaline does is it actually turns the aura into a shield. And where I heard about using this was specifically for the purpose of protecting your energy from being, too empathic. So for therapists or, consultants, energy workers, massage therapists, so many people are really, engaged in impacting others' energy fields, and you can pick up that energy. So if you're working with someone who's really depressed, and then you find out, like, oh wow, now I'm really depressed because I've taken on this other person's situation. Ruby tourmaline, pink tourmaline is a real guard for that. So it's really interesting.
Oh, thank you.
These ways to clear, it's just so fascinating.
It is wonderful. It is wonderful. I've always been drawn to pink tourmaline. I remember the very first time I walked into a crystal shop, that was the first thing that I sought out. I looked all over the crystal shop. The only thing I wanted in the shop was this tiny little pink tourmaline. And, you know, I was drawn to it right away. I didn't know what it was for. I didn't know what it was about. But I knew that stone felt like the right one for me. And now that you explain that, you know, that makes perfect sense, especially for what I was going through at the time. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you can take a strand of pink tourmaline, ruby tourmaline, especially in chip form, like rounded, you know, polished chips, and place them, for example, you know, around the second chakra, around the reproductive organs. If there's any kind of difficulty or, you know, challenge, health issues going on there, and it really helps the health of the female reproductive organs. It's also great in balancing the energies between men and women.
Okay.
It really works well for that, which is probably a clearing energy too.
Wonderful. Well, we had a couple comments come in on the website. So we had a comment that Smokey Topaz is another great stone to replace negativity with love and joy. And I just wanted to talk at all about Smokey Topaz. I am not much of a crystal expert. I know a few little basics, and that's about it. But if you know something about Smokey Topaz that you'd like to share, I thought that would be kind of nice.
I actually take that as some information being, you know, whoever shared that knows more about Smokey Topaz than me.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave that there then. And the other thing that came in is where to get Tibetan bowls. Where did you get your bowl? How do you get a bowl?
Well, okay. Metaphysical shops. I know, you know, there definitely are. Madison has a shop called Mimosa. There's also Shakti on Main Street. They would have singing bowls. Milwaukee area, I would imagine like the Three Spirit Crystals in Butler would probably have them. Any kind of metaphysical shop or a shop that is selling Buddhist types of merchandise, things from, oh gosh, yeah, that's what I would think of. I don't know what's all happening in the Midwest. I got mine at a metaphysical shop that's no longer open in Half Moon Bay, way long time ago. But that's the kind of place you would look, and of course, you can look online.
I was going to say, you can always buy one online, but for me, I would like to see and feel the energy that I'm buying. So it is kind of hard to, I don't know of any places in the Milwaukee area that would sell them, but I would think that, like you said, any kind of Eastern or Buddhist shop, like I know there's Art Asia in downtown Milwaukee. They sell a lot of imported things. I would guess they would probably have some.
Crystal shops will tend to have them.
What will happen? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Shops that sell crystals will tend to have, I mean, that would be a good resource to check on. Do you have, you know, Tibetan singing bowls?
Yes.
And their qualities really differ. I mean, there's some very cheap metal bowls and they have kind of a cheap tinny sound. I mean, you know, that's why I agree, it's really great to find your own. in person.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get a rain stick lately, and looking at them online, and they look beautiful, but I want to hear it first. I want to
Yeah.
hear it before I use it. So that kind of takes me to the next clearing thing that I also use. I use rattles to help clear away negative energy, to help open up positive energy. They're kind of dual purpose. They've been used by shamans and healers and medicine people throughout history to be able to, kind of change, within you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And so I like to rattle. A little funny story about my first rattle. I kind of fell into rattling by accident. I didn't know anything about it, had never heard anything about it at all. But I made my kids cookies. Like I was at the store and there was this little tube of cookie dough. And I thought, wow, we never eat junk food. That looks like it might be fun. Okay. So I bring the cookies home, and my kids hated them, by the way. But I had this empty tube, and I looked at the tube, and I thought, I feel like I want to do something with this tube, but I'm not really sure what. So I just sat down and randomly made a rattle, and I got up, and I rattled it all over the living room, and I just kind of started off, and it like I could energetically feel the shift happening. I could feel the energy was shifting in my body. I could feel the energy shifting in my space, and it felt good. So I kept doing it. So I rattled all over my living room and all through my bedroom and bathroom and all through the house. And as I was rattling, it's just like it felt so good, and I just got into it so much that I rattled and rattled until finally I'm like dancing around the house, just rattling all over the place. And then I stopped. And I laid down on the floor, and I stared up at the white ceiling, and I got my very first vision, my actual, like a white light vision, like if you were looking in a crystal ball. And so, it was really a powerful experience for me. So it's a special story about my very first rattle. But ever since then, like I love the feeling of moving energy and of activating that shift and that change, within our lives. So I started over the past, I would say maybe the past few months, 6 months or so, making rattles. And so I make them to use when we do energy healing. In person I do sort of group energy healing sessions, and I make them to use during session. And this is what one looks like. It is just basically a small water bottle filled with some beans, and it doesn't have to be pretty like this to use your own rattle. It can be just an empty bottle with some rice, beans, little beads, whatever sound that you like the best. This one in particular, like I'm very artistic and creative, so I like to paint mine. So mine is painted, and it's colored. Listen to that rattling sound. I learned recently that the sound of the rattle is the same vibration of the earth. I read it somewhere, I read it in an article, that it was being measured in megahertz. It's the same vibration of the earth. So that makes sense as to why it's been used so much through history, to be able to bring healing and to be able to shift energy and to be able to make change, because it is the same, megahertz, the same vibration as the earth. So basically, rattling, you can make your rattle out of whatever you want. It can be, like I said, it can be just an empty a little bit of dried rice, not cooked rice. That would not work well. So you put your dried rice in, and then you can just shake it. And you can shake it around your body to kind of clear the energy around you. You can shake it around your house, to kind of clear your space. And it can be a little noisy if you're shaking a lot, but it's that noise that kind of wakes up all the energy. And I've even, people are commenting online, and it's adorable. Shake, rattle, and roll. I want to make a rattle. It's just really cute. So anyway, it's just a wonderful way to be able to shift energy, to be able to clear your space. It's a nice, easy thing to do, and it's especially fun for children. So if you have kids and you want to, or even if you work with kids and you want to do a nice, fun activity with them, to kind of help them be their energy for themselves. And you know, you may or may not explain it that way because intuitively the children will feel it no matter what. So intuitively they'll be drawn to shaking the rattle because it's fun. You know, my kids come in and they grab a rattle and they shake it, or they hit my bowl, you know, and, you know, just like Mary's bowl and whatever, because they're intuitively drawn to doing that because their bodies and their spirits want to have that clearing too. So they just kind of automatically just walk up and start doing it whenever they need to. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful little activity and a fun thing for kids and adults. Those are my favorites for clearing, you know. I mean, obviously there's visualization, there's meditation, you know, there's a lot of other things you can add in, but those are kind of my quick, easy little tools and my most favorite, you know, my most favorite things. Did you have anything that you wanted to add at all, Mary?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple more things I do with stones. Another really clearing stone is kyanite. And kyanite, its form is a lot like selenite. It's striated. It's, you know, has very long crystalline structure in it. They come in as wands primarily, and this one is a polished wand, which I just like so much. I had never seen a polished one when I found this one. And kyanite has the property that you can just touch it to something and it clears the negativity.
Wow.
What is pretty amazing. And I have faith in it. I mean, I've really had that experience of clearing with it. And then you were mentioning the clear quartz over the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, as a protection kind of thing. And these are chakra rings. Each ring is made from 7 clear quartz crystal beads. I string it on silk, and you can use one and place it on each of your chakras, starting at the root chakra for a few minutes each. This is very clearing of the chakra energy. Quartz crystal draws in life force energy. All the color rays are present within it, and so it will bring in whatever amount of color ray is needed at the chakras. Or you can use a set of all 7 and, you know, place them on each of the chakras while resting or meditating. I like to put them on when I go to bed at night, or a little bit before I actually get out of bed in the morning. I'll place them on all of my chakras while lying down. Of course, it's not going to stay on my head while I'm sitting here. And this, it clears all of the chakras individually and as the primary system. And you can really, at times, I will physically feel energy moving, and at other times it's more subtle. And, you know, if you put them on before you go to sleep, you roll over and you're sleeping with them all night. It just has a really great effect. So that's another way of using stones for clearing. And then one more thing I wanted to mention is little beings called white lights. And I teach about this in the Akashic reading course that I have. And white lights are little beings, and they are described, they look like little balls, like a little star that would fit in the palm of your hand. And they are attracted to the 10th, 11th, and 12th chakras. So it's very much a soul level chakra connection. And the more you give, the more you receive. And what they do is they represent your caring and your giving and sending healing and positive energy, life-enhancing energy to anyone, wherever they are, even if they are no longer incarnated. It's this energy that you send out that builds the number of white lights that you have spinning around these chakras. And from a clearing standpoint, what you can do is visualize taking your white lights and having them outline a doorway that you're going to be moving through. And as you pass through that doorway, or anyone else that you would be having, go with you, or into a room where you're doing some work, for example, when you pass through those white lights, they clear your energy field. And then, of course, you recollect them. They stay with you. And so I think that is a really lovely practice for clearing also.
I agree 100%. In fact, I was looking because I have a picture of my aura from, like, I don't know, 18, 16, 17 years ago, and you can actually see little balls of white light all around in the upper layers of my aura. And I wondered if that was the same thing. At the time, the leader who did it for me, she took the picture and then she interpreted it for me. And she told me they were beings of light, like she said maybe from past life connections or whatever, but she just said they're beings of light that are, kind of, with you. But you could see all through my aura, all the way. I can't find the image now. As soon as you started talking about it, I started looking, but I don't know where to get the picture. But you could see little balls of light going all the way through, kind of almost like in a rainbow arc above my head. They weren't colored, they were all white. But you could see them all through my aura, and I just thought that was at a time in my life when I was really, really dedicated to my spiritual practice. And it was a time when I really, focused on sending good energy on a regular basis to as many people as I could. My neighbors, my friends, my, people that I had a hard time with especially, and I would just focus on sending love and light to every single being I could think of. If I went to the grocery store, I would do a blessing on all the people in the store. If I went into my car and I was driving around, I would bless everyone on the road. But it just makes sense now that you're saying this, that, that those little beings would have been drawn, toward me because I was in such an active state of blessing, and I feel like, that I could have shown it to everyone on camera had I been able to find the picture, but I couldn't. I can't find it. All I can find are the ones I've used.
Well, it's interesting because look at how many ways there are to clear. And I love this idea that you're talking about where you were, where you're going out and you're blessing every environment in which you find yourself or you're going to. And so blessing is a way of clearing because blessing means raising the vibration. And, so that you're going into an atmosphere that resonates with you and offering that to anyone around who's within that, who consciously or unconsciously would like to receive it. It's not an imposition, it's just something that is there that you're offering and can either be accepted or not. But it's really beautiful. And I mean, I know through prayer, and, people talk about calling in the white light, violet flame, imagining shielding oneself in a bubble of white light or a bubble of violet light before starting your day. So as you move out into your day, you have this sense of protection. And so for all of these different ways, what just keeps coming to me is it's a state of consciousness. That if you're conscious of wanting to clear, of wanting to shield, that's the main component. And then here exist all of these physical, third-dimensional ways that we can incorporate into our lives to affect our energy, to keep it clear, and to keep ourselves shielded, which I think it's like you feel safe. That's kind of what you just want to feel comfortable and safe in your environments, that you're not being impinged on or imposed on. Whether it's positive or negative or bland, in between energy, just that you want to have a sense of participating but not being overrun by other energies.
Wonderful.
Do you think?
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome. I'm wondering now if we could do a little bit of send a little healing, blessing, and good energy out to our audience, as well as anybody else who watches this video in the future. You could just send some positive healing energy out to them. Did you want to play your bowl, Mary? Would you like to do that?
Love to.
And then while Mary's playing her bowl, we'll just all hold space to send positive, good healing energy to all of you and to anyone who watches the video in the future.
Great. All right.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I get in such a zone that sometimes I didn't even think to come back to talk. Oh, it just feels so good. Let's just stay in that energy. Thank you so much, Mary, and thank you all for coming today. For those of you who are watching the show, and this is the time where Mary and I offer out, messages, or if anybody has any messages, or you should say, if anybody's got any questions today that they would like answered, if you'd like to post them in the chat box so Mary and I can focus on them. Meanwhile, I will tune into my angels and guides and see if they have a special question for all of us, or a special message for all of us today. What I'm hearing are I'm sensing the words "keep the faith," and that this is an important time for all of us that have been, sort of on the personal awareness and spiritual growth journey. That this is a time when you may be feeling like you're being tested, and you may be feeling like, you're kind of noticing some areas in your life that might be a little bit challenging or a little bit difficult. And that this is not meant to, sort of knock you down or take you back or, challenge you. It's just meant to help redefine your intentions, your directions, your goals. The angels and the guides are with us so strongly right now to be able to help our, dreams come true, to be able to help manifest our intentions, and to be able to help create our divine life experience, and help us move into a state of more joy, more bliss, more happiness. And to do so, we sometimes need to recalibrate or redefine or reshape our intentions. Like we may think, hey, I really want a raise. I really want a raise at work. That's what I want. you know? So we start putting this intention out there, and then things begin to challenge us all around that intention. And it's not meant to take away the intention. It's just meant to refocus and redefine it. Like, is this really what you want? You know, are you 100% in alignment with this? So all your stuff kind of comes up around it to help make sure you keep yourself in 100% alignment with your goal. And if you find yourself slipping from alignment with that, it either means you have some things to clear, or it means you just need to, you know, maybe shift that goal. So maybe it's not the raise that you need. Maybe it's a whole different job, you know, or, you know, something like that. Because it's like if you're heading toward manifesting a goal, manifesting an idea, manifesting a dream, and you begin to see yourself being challenged around manifesting that, it gives you the chance to reshape that intention to be able to make sure you're 100% in alignment with this. You know, what I found for myself is I had an intention, you know, 5 years ago of opening a wellness center. That was a really, you know, an intention that I held in my heart and in my spirit to make happen. And I did, and my angels helped me, and it was a wonderful experience. But one of the things that I learned along the way is that it's a lot more work than I expected. And so now as I sit with my intentions, you know, and I think about that, it's like I have to really redefine what my intention really is. I want to bring healing to my, you know, to the world, but do I want to sacrifice, you know, 40 to 60 hours a week from my family to do that? And I, you know, much more clear on my intention now that no, like, thank you for helping me to realize that wasn't quite what I wanted, you know, but at the time, I couldn't see that fully clearly. All I could see is my angels were stepping forward to help make my dream come true. And, you know, it took me probably 2 or 3 years before I realized, like, I have a dream of sharing healing energy with people. I have a dream of helping people, but maybe not in a way that requires so much of my time and so much of my personal investment. So it gave me a chance to reshape my intention to what is it now that I need to do, you know, like and so I guess what I'm feeling from the angels and guides to share with everyone today is that if you're manifesting a dream, you're manifesting an intention, and you feel challenged around it, and you feel like there's stuff that comes up that makes it difficult to, you know, to realize that intention, take a moment then to reshape it and see, is there something here? Am I 100% in alignment with this? Is this 100% what I want? You know, and sometimes that, you know, that answer is no, and so that you need to reset your intention towards something else. But to know that the angels and guides are watching over us in every way to help make that come true, you know, in all ways. So to know the guides are always on your side. They're always wanting to help you. Your angels are always looking out for you. And if there's an intention that's blocked, it's not because you're not well supported by the universe. It's because there may be another direction. There may be stuff to clear. You may have fears and insecurities. You may have things around it that need to be cleared. Or it could be that your intention needs to be reshaped and redirected a little bit so that you can be 100% in alignment with it. So that's my message to share for today. I'll take a peek at the site and see if anything else has come in for questions. Do you have anything you'd like to share with the group or any of our future viewers, Perry?
Well, I love what you said. I think that having goals, having dreams, and setting goals around them to make them occur, manifest them in our lives is so powerful. And the idea there that challenges do come up, and that they don't necessarily mean, they don't even mean stop. They just are ways. Like I just picture myself in my life as I am setting goals and working towards them, and then something will happen and it'll, you know, maybe seem like it's going to push me off course, but it's not. I mean, I feel like, you know, when you see someone dribbling a soccer ball down the field, and I know when I was a kid, I would have to play these games. I'm not much of a game player. But we would have to do these things in PE. And that always stuck with me, and I feel like that's kind of what our guides do. They're not kicking us around. They're, you know, go this way, go this way. You meet a person and something else happens, and the direction we're going in is altered a little bit. But they're just ways to see how to get to where we want to go. And if where we want to go changes, if the goal changes, it's because we found a different path or a different way on our path. So it all works. Yesterday I went to a wonderful workshop. It was doing vision boards at the beginning of the year. And here we are already. It's January 12th. We're almost halfway into the month. And so this was a tarot vision for the year, a 13-card spread that my friend Meta had developed. And I absolutely loved it. And what I loved about it is I wasn't asking, I've set some, for me, pretty outrageous goals for this year. And there's no doubt in my mind that these are my goals and this is what I want to accomplish. And what this spread did was it never brought my goals into question. It wasn't what I was asking about, but it was showing me on the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual levels what was working for me and what I needed to work on, what was challenging. And I think it speaks to the same thing that you were visioning there, is this idea that anything we're trying to accomplish has the ultimate goal that we think, well, this is what we're going after, and it's what we go through to get there, which will be some smooth sailing and some major challenges. And you just work with them because you learn from all of them. And our angels and our guides are doing this with us and helping us through it. It makes life just fabulous to live.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so wonderful to know how supported we are. It's beautiful. We did have one question come in from Sandra, and it is about her family. I'm just going to scroll back up. Her mother's health is declining, and there's a lot of tense energy around her siblings, and she's just wondering if they'll be able to remain a family as they go through this difficult time of her mother's health declining. So I'll see what it is that I can pick up for you, Sandra.
Me too.
What I feel as I tune into the situation is I sense there's a lot of fear and a lot of, really it just feels like a lot of fear. There's some frustration on the surface, but the frustration between the siblings is all coming from the fear. Because as your mother's health declines and as her mortality becomes very apparent, people are feeling, a lot of fear around that. That, your mother has been, sort of this connection, that kind of runs out to everyone in the family. And so there's kind of fear around letting go of that connection. Now, whether it's been good or neutral or negative, it's still been a connection. Like some people may be, frustrated or not happy with your mother's decisions or her, but overall, there's still been that connection, good, bad, or, indifferent. And so I see that there's like little cords of energy running from her out through the family, and it's almost like running these little cords of, of energy and of love and of, connection, and people are kind of, frustrated or afraid, that as those cords begin disconnecting, because her health is failing. You know, as the cords begin disconnecting, what does that mean for them? You know, like how can they move forward? And the feeling that I get is that, you know, there's a lot of emotion coming up, and people process grief, and they process, you know, process change in a different way. And so if you step back and be witness to it instead of getting enmeshed in it, just step back and don't get emotionally entrenched in their process. There's going to be a lot of people who are going through their process. You know, they're in the act of losing their mother. Like, she's not today or tomorrow, but her health is getting worse. It's letting people know that little by little they're losing her. And so they have their own process to go through. And if you can step back and not take it personal, you know, not get emotionally entrenched in it, just step back, let them go through their process, you go through yours, and just kind of express, you know, sort of like express the, you know, the love and the peace no matter what they're going through. Because deep inside, beyond the fear, beyond the frustration, beyond the tension they have, you know, over this situation, that there's a lot of love under there. And if you can stay focused on that, you'll help them to remember it too. You know, sort of like saying, well, you know, the reason you're upset is because, you know, because you have a lot of love under there. You know, and then people remember, like, oh yeah, that's why, you know, that I'm so upset. So instead of, you know, feeling tense with each other, they can remember what this is really about, which is the grieving process. It's about losing, you know, someone who's been very connected to them in many ways. And that can be both good and bad, you know, like we have our stuff to process as people leave, you know, this world. And so I just get the sense of like everybody is kind of feeling her mortality, feeling that, you know, grieving process beginning already. And it's bringing up a lot of stuff for people. And if you can just step back and let them, you know, process and remind them of the truth, which is, you know, it's the connection that they're losing that's making them feel this way, it will help them to not take it out on each other so much. I hope that helps. Did you have anything you wanted to share, Mary?
Yeah, I get a visual of the glue that held everyone together is dissolving with recognizing the passing that's coming of the mother. And what will happen is the connection between you and your brothers and sisters is not going to be the same because that focus isn't there any longer, and no one is likely to step into that position and go, okay, well, I'm going to take over everything that mom did, you know, to keep us together. So part of the process is going to be everyone you know, going through the grieving and then at some point reevaluating the relationships with siblings and making decisions based on that. And, you know, to keep in mind that everyone gets to do that, including you, and to just let it be, that you don't have control of what your siblings are going to decide and choose to do in the future, and you don't have to worry about it. You just want to send positive energy and understanding and compassion as much as you have into their lives and see where it goes.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Well, thank you so much today, Mary, for sharing your wonderful wisdom and insights and healing energy with all of our audience and all of the viewers in the future. And I want to thank you, all of the viewers that have attended today. Thank you so much, you know, for being here with us. And we'll look forward to seeing you again Monday. If you have received any benefit from the show today and you've enjoyed the messages or enjoyed the information, please feel free to log up to the top of the screen. Feel free to make a donation of any size, whatever is comfortable for you. But thank you so much for being here and wishing you all a wonderful day.
Yes, have a fantastic week. And also, if you've enjoyed what we've shared today, visit the Feronia Wellness website, all the services that are available there through Deborah's work, and my website at marysclearings.com, where so much is available as far as services and teaching, free gifts. I would love for you to sign up for my mailing list and look forward to future shows. Many blessings.